accomplish great things in her life.
He was a handsome man in uniform.
He was always very loving and attentive with her.
Together, their potential seemed unlimited.
They were like the Michelle and Barack of the campus. I mean, they were like a powerhouse couple.
Until a dark secret exploded into a gruesome tragedy.
She's at the bottom of the stairs, head busted up with blood everywhere.
The quest for justice would unearth a twisted tale of deception, betrayal, and sexual intrigue. As the plot thickened, so did the lies.
You know I didn't do anything. You need to tell the truth.
You talk about a soap opera. You talk about a made-for-TV movie. This story had all of that.
I ain't going to jail. And I'm supposed to decide I didn't do it? You gonna kill me too?
There's no logic involved in it. Logic takes a back seat to jealousy and revenge.
January 4th, 2007, 10 a.m. It's a quiet morning in the Mid-South college town of Durham, North Carolina. But that serenity is about to be shattered in a most horrific fashion.
Durham 911, where's your emergency? Campus call from apartment.
The call is coming not far from North Carolina Central University, a historically black college in the heart of Durham.
I think this girl is straight down the stairs. I just walked out my apartment. She's at the bottom of the stairs, head busted up with blood everywhere. Is she conscious? Hey, baby girl. Hello? I see you moving, man.
Police rush to Campus Crossing Apartments. In the parking lot in front of Building 1100, a male, 28 years old, identifies himself as the caller.
You call us? Yeah, she's right over here.
And leads them to a gruesome scene.
The victim was lying at the bottom of the stairs.
There was a pool of blood right next to where her head was.
Responding officers check the young woman's vital signs, but there's nothing they can do.
She was pronounced deceased.
In addition to the pool of blood, the young woman's keys, purse, and shoes are strewn along the stairs.
Things were scattered from the top of the landing to the bottom.
There's also a trail of blood.
The young lady may have fallen down the stairs.
Finding a dead body in a college apartment complex like this is rare. But responding officers do have a theory about what happened.
It's a college town. She may have had some alcohol in her system.
But who is this young woman? The neighbor who called 911 seems to have the answer.
And so you say you know her name?
Yeah, her name's Danita Smith.
Born in 1981, North Carolina native Danita Monique Smith was raised in a loving middle-class family. Danita's parents expected big things from her, especially in the classroom.
Education was a priority. It was just an understanding that you graduate high school and you go to college. And she was a very driven person.
That drive earned Danita admission to North Carolina Central University. Once enrolled, Danita plunged headfirst into campus life.
She was involved in just about everything, from the yearbook to the inspirational choir and the sound machine, which is the marching band.
Danita!
It wasn't long before Danita caught the eye of a fellow band member, a handsome sophomore named Jameer Stroud.
Jameer was well put together, very smooth, very handsome.
Like Danita, Jameer had more than just good looks going for him.
He's a very smart guy, always made good grades in school. He's a very eloquent speaker as well.
But even a smooth talker like Jameer had no words for just how hard or how quickly he fell for Danita.
It was kind of love at first sight.
He's thinking this is going to be his wife, this is going to be his life partner, this is the woman for him.
When they were together, everything was good. They were very loving with each other.
Between their good looks and good grades, Danita and Jameer soon became the most recognizable couple in school.
They were like the Michelle and Barack of the campus.
While Jameer pursued a potential career in criminal justice, Danita focused on photojournalism, honing her skills at the campus newspaper.
At any event at NCCU, she was there taking pictures.
During her junior year, Danita won a highly competitive fellowship at the New York Times, which further fueled her drive to succeed.
Once she got her master's degree, she was definitely going places.
There was just one hitch. Jameer had finished undergrad and had been offered a position with the Greensboro Police Department.
Greensboro. It's about an hour travel time.
Rather than go their separate ways, the couple decided to have a long-distance relationship.
Danita would travel to Greensboro or Jameer would travel to Durham. The interaction between them, it was as if they weren't separated. It was a very genuine relationship.
You know what? I'll travel 1,000 miles to get home to you. You know that, right?
The long-distance nature of their relationship seemed to strengthen the bond between Danita and Jameer.
I actually have a surprise for you.
What is it? Oh my God.
And in the fall of 2006, Jameer slipped a diamond engagement ring on Danita's finger.
She came in and showed me her ring, of course, and I just kind of exclaimed like, "Oh my God, he finally did it."
She was showing off that ring everywhere she went. She was so excited.
As her final semester of graduate school was set to begin, Danita spent Christmas in Greensboro with Jameer, planning her dream wedding.
Babe, are your cousins coming?
The bridesmaids were going to wear her sorority colors, and the groomsmen were going to wear his frat colors.
After New Year's, the couple said their goodbyes. And Danita made her way back to Durham, hopeful of what the future held in store. Fast forward 24 hours. As investigators stand over her lifeless body, it appears Danita Smith's hopes for the future have been cut tragically short. Responding officers initially suspect Danita fell down the stairs outside her apartment. But when CSIs arrive to process the scene, they make an unlikely discovery.
Looks like we got a gunshot wound, possibly a 38.
The victim had been shot one time in the back of the head.
They were able to determine that it was a .38 caliber.
But who would want to shoot and kill Danita Smith, and why? The answer to that question would lead investigators down a dark path. One beset on all sides by jealousy, lust, and murder. A budding journalism career, a handsome fiancé. Beautiful and talented graduate student Danita Smith is on the verge of having it all. But on January 4th, 2007, that bright future is snuffed out when Danita's body is found in a pool of blood at the base of an apartment staircase. A single bullet wound to the back of her head.
When forensics investigators were able to recover the slug from Miss Smith's body, they were able to determine that it was a .38 caliber.
As investigators canvass the area, another witness steps forward with new information.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing, sir?
Michael Hedgeman.
You see anything today?
I was having a smoke break and I heard a gunshot.
His name is Michael Hedgepeth. He's the maintenance man. And like the neighbor who discovered Danita's body, he also made a 911 call that morning.
He actually said he was out on a smoke break at about 8:19 a.m.
I heard something that appeared to be some gunshots.
Did you see anybody when you come around?
Well, I hopped in my truck and came around to where I heard the gunshot.
Hey. Did you hear anything?
Yeah.
What's going on? Did you hear any gunshots?
Yeah, I heard a gunshot.
He described her as a light-skinned black female. She was crying, she was shaking.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
I asked her why she was crying, and she told me that she was scared of gunshots.
All right, well, just pull right there, and I'm going to find out what's going on, okay?
So I told her to go park, and I was going to call the police.
Yeah, 911, where's your emergency? I heard gunshots coming from somewhere around here. Did you hear anybody scream afterwards? No, the young lady that stays over here, she heard it too, and she like upset and shaking and stuff like that.
According to Michael, within minutes of his initial 911 call, patrol officers arrived, but they could find no signs of suspicious activity. Still, Michael Hedgepeth's statement gives investigators a lead on a potential witness.
I told her to pull her vehicle over while I went and parked my vehicle, just to come back to ask her questions and see if she knew anything.
He stated that she was driving a Ford Explorer.
But according to Michael Hedgepeth, when he returned to speak to this mystery woman, she was nowhere to be found.
I didn't see her anymore, she was gone.
So she left the scene.
By the time that the police came, the first time, she was long gone.
Thank you, Mr. Hedgeman. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, have a good day. All right.
With no way to locate this mystery witness, investigators turn their attention back to the crime scene and the possibility of an armed robbery.
College students could be more susceptible to robbery because they're carrying laptop computers, things of that nature.
But a check of Danita's personal items makes robbery seem unlikely.
Her car was still parked in the parking lot. Her purse was still there.
But if this wasn't some random robbery, what had happened to Danita?
You have to dig into the victim's life a little bit to find out if there's any bad blood anywhere.
I would start with people that knew her, that were closest to her.
Investigators begin with Danita's roommate, Tanika Steed.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
What's your name, please?
Tanika Steed.
Tanika being the roommate, she has the closest access to Danita.
Have you heard anything this morning?
Earlier this morning, a loud noise woke me up.
The roommate indicated that she was sleeping and heard the loud noise. She said she got up and looked out the window, but she didn't see anything.
So I just went back to bed.
A lot of times, victims actually know who did it to them, so we try to figure out if there is any grudges.
Were you and Danita pretty close?
The roommate said that she used to be very, very close with Danita, but they drifted apart.
Has she had any problems with anybody lately? Anybody mad at her?
Maybe a fight with the roommate started upstairs. Danita decided to leave, and the roommate ran down and shot her in the back of the head.
Somebody lives in close proximity to you, that could be some kind of motivation for murder.
And do you care if we come in and look around a little bit?
Oh, sure.
Officers enter Danita and Tanika's apartment and begin collecting evidence.
We used luminol to test the floor to see if there were any traces of blood, if anyone had cleaned the apartment.
They found nothing was damaged, no blood, nothing was out of the ordinary.
Nor do investigators find any evidence that would indicate the gun used to shoot Danita came from inside the apartment.
When we were looking for any shell casings and searched the stairwell, the room upstairs, we looked all over for this weapon.
The lack of blood evidence or murder weapon rules out Tanika as a possible suspect. But the search of the apartment does turn up an intriguing clue.
We discovered a pregnancy test in the bathroom trash can.
Tanika tells investigators the pregnancy test belongs to Danita.
Tanika knew that Danita was engaged. She knew his first name is Jameer, and she knew that he was a police officer in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Detectives decide they need to speak with Danita's fiancé. But first, they must deliver the awful news of Danita's murder to her friends and family, who've gotten wind of the shooting and have started to gather at the crime scene.
It was shocking. I just said, no, not Danita, not our Danita. That's something that just shook us to the core.
Took it a while for it to sink in that she was actually gone, that I couldn't talk to her anymore, that I wouldn't see her anymore.
Do you all know of anyone who may have wanted to hurt Danita?
No, she's a sweet girl.
She had no enemies. I mean, she was a genuinely down-to-earth person, so it was just unthinkable for this to happen.
I don't know nobody that would have done that.
After speaking with Danita's family, investigators bring a heartbroken Jameer down to the station for a formal interview.
Jameer was emotionally crushed by this, totally destroyed.
They were a young couple in love, and they both kind of had their lives ahead of them. He was really shocked and upset.
Though devastated, Jameer is eager to help and readily answers officers' questions.
So, Jameer, can you tell us where you were the morning of the murder?
Yeah, the morning of the murder, I was back at home in bed.
But Jameer's alibi isn't completely airtight.
I was sleeping. I just got off work the night before. I worked 24 hours straight.
Jameer told investigators that he was home in bed at the time of the murder.
That is problematic because no one can verify that you were actually home asleep.
Did you call anybody, talk to anybody?
I really don't remember if I called anyone on my way home.
You mind if we check your phone records?
Jameer complies, and a quick check of his cell phone records confirms he was at home when the murder happened. So detectives shift the focus of their interview.
So, my next question, do you know anybody that drives a green Ford Explorer?
It hit him, and then he said, oh my God.
What Jameer says next will leave investigators shell-shocked and forever change what friends think they know about this seemingly perfect couple. Danita Smith and Jameer Stroud seem like a match made in heaven. But that dream life is ripped apart when Danita is found dead outside her apartment. the victim of a single .38 caliber bullet to the head. As Danita's fiancé, Jameer is one of the first people investigators want to question about the crime. But after speaking with him, investigators change course and ask if he knows anything about the mystery woman seen leaving the scene.
They asked Jameer if you know anybody with Forward Explorer, and that triggers an emotion.
Oh my God.
Who is this person, Mr. Stroh?
Girl by the name of Shannon Crawley.
Shannon Crawley was a single mother of two, worked in law enforcement in dispatch in Greensboro Metro 911. Jameer was a rookie police officer, and Shannon was holding a course on radio communications.
Shannon started to fall in love with me.
That relationship blossomed because they were coworkers, and they could relate to what was happening at work.
With the love of his life buried in her books back in Durham, Jameer says it was hard to resist Shannon's charms.
If he is a relatively insecure person, then it can be extremely lonely. And sometimes the answer to that loneliness is to find a more convenient relationship or to find more immediate company.
So it started out platonic and it turned into what, a sexual relationship?
Yeah.
He also tells officers that the taboo nature of the affair only heightened its intensity.
Danita was the woman that he wanted to be with. He just wanted to have a side to a relationship. It was a very sexual relationship.
I never heard about a date that they went on or anything that you might associate with romance.
But according to Jameer, after a few torrid months, he realized he had to put a stop to the affair.
She was going crazy over me, and that's when I knew that I had to end this relationship. And there was no possible way in this world that I was gonna end my relationship with Anita for Shannon.
We had his cake and ate it too, but that couldn't go on forever.
Danita had such a strong personality. I don't think that she would have stood for any infidelity in her relationship.
Jameer tells investigators that when he tried to break things off, Shannon started stalking him.
Like when I would go somewhere, I would see her, sitting in a car, and when I would drive away, she would follow me.
And the more Jameer tried to push Shannon away, the more intense her fixation on him became.
He would hear vehicles driving around, and he would look out and see her vehicle sitting there.
A stalker is someone who is obsessed with a person. They might do things that are potentially dangerous and potentially harmful and not care if someone does sustain damage in the process.
The situation came to a head weeks before when Jameer brought Danita to church with him on Christmas Eve.
It was clear that they were a couple, that Jameer was there with someone that he loved and that was close to him.
As the couple took a seat near the front of the chapel, Jameer saw Shannon sitting a few rows back, shooting daggers at Danita.
What makes the stalker potentially dangerous is that they still love whoever they're stalking. When that emotion's not reciprocated, then they become angry, jealous, possibly violent.
Jameer's statement seems to finger Shannon Crawley as the mystery woman in the Ford Explorer. It also suggests Shannon is willing to stop at nothing, not even murder, to be with Jameer.
She's jealous that he's going to be taken off the market by marrying Mrs. Smith, so she has to eliminate the competition to get him back.
After speaking with Jameer, investigators make the hour-long drive to Greensboro to question Shannon Crawley. They expect to encounter a woman wild-eyed with jealousy, but Shannon's quite the opposite.
Shannon presented herself as a professional, middle-class woman.
A very pretty girl. It seemed like she had everything going for herself.
Shannon gladly answers investigators' questions about her relationship with Jameer, though she describes their breakup in a decidedly different manner.
So Shannon, tell me about Jameer.
Well, Jameer and I, we were in a relationship for a while, and then we broke up and said we would never speak to each other again.
She mentioned the relationship ending. Her and Jameer agreed that they weren't going to speak to each other.
Can you tell us where you were the morning of the murder?
Shannon said she was at a doctor's appointment for one of her kids.
So, do you own a gun, Miss Crawley?
No, I've never even fired one.
There was nothing in her behavior that would indicate that she was emotionally distraught or had been involved in the crime.
Shannon, can we look at your car? Is that all right? Can we search it?
That's fine.
The initial search of Shannon's car yields zero evidence linking Shannon to the shooting.
There was nothing within her vehicle that gave us any answers or tied, anything to the scene.
Shannon's boss also confirms that on the morning of the crime, she came in late because her child had a doctor's appointment. And a background check by investigators reveals Shannon has never purchased a firearm.
It didn't appear that she was a suspect at all.
But if Shannon Crawley has nothing to do with Danita Smith's murder, could the Ford Explorer merely be a coincidence? And what about Jameer's allegations that Shannon was some sort of sex-crazed stalker? No sooner have investigators asked themselves these questions than Shannon drops a bombshell.
I got pregnant in January of 2006, but Jameer didn't want to keep the baby. He wanted me to have an abortion.
Shannon was pregnant with Jameer's child, and Jameer wanted nothing to do with that relationship.
With every new lead, this case is quickly morphing into a story more scintillating than any romance novel. But the fireworks were just beginning. Incredible new evidence would soon come to light. Evidence that would unmask the identity of the woman in the Explorer, as well as that of Danita's killer.
He said, I'll make it real simple. Either your children die or you die for your children.
It's been less than 48 hours since 25-year-old Danita Smith was murdered outside her campus apartment in Durham, North Carolina. In that short time, investigators have learned that Danita's fiancé, Jameer Stroud, has been having an affair with an attractive dispatcher named Shannon Crawley. Jameer claims when he tried to end things with Shannon, she started stalking him. But when investigators question Shannon, she doesn't quite fit the bill of a deranged ex-mistress. And a cursory search of Shannon's vehicle yields no evidence linking her to the crime. Shannon also seems to have a credible alibi.
One of my kids had a doctor's appointment.
Her interview didn't indicate that she was a suspect because she was very helpful to the investigators. She seemed very cool and collected.
But before investigators wrap up their interview, Shannon drops a bombshell.
He wanted me to have an abortion.
She got pregnant, and in 2006, they had an abortion, and the relationship was over after that.
He didn't want to have a baby with her. He broke up a relationship with Miss Crowley over an unwanted pregnancy.
Investigators can't help but think back to Danita's apartment and the pregnancy test they found at the scene.
That would be one of the motivations for murder. It could be that she's pregnant with somebody's baby. Either the boyfriend doesn't want the baby or she's sleeping with someone else's husband or boyfriend.
Was she pregnant or was she not pregnant? Maybe he just didn't want a baby, period. That did raise eyebrows at the time.
To investigators, it seems the only one who's been completely honest so far is Shannon Crawley.
She was very forthcoming, in which a lot of times honest people are. They've got no reason to lie.
But in order to fully eliminate Shannon as a suspect, investigators will need to verify her alibi. They obtain a subpoena for her cell phone records and enlist CSIs to do a more thorough examination of her vehicle. Later that evening, the lab results come back from the forensic test performed on Shannon's SUV. Officers are floored.
The gunshot residue test done of her vehicle ended up coming back positive.
This would indicate that Miss Crowley or someone that drove this vehicle recently fired a gun immediately before getting into the vehicle.
The gunshot residue suggests Shannon's vehicle was used in the commission of the murder, which seems at odds with Shannon's initial statement.
She told me she never owned a gun and was scared of them.
Investigators decide to interview Shannon's coworkers to see if she might have reached out to one of her fellow officers in an effort to obtain a firearm. It doesn't take long to hit pay dirt.
Now, you indicated to us that you had sold Miss Crawley a gun.
I did.
A co-worker came forward and indicated that he had sold her a handgun.
The gun that was purchased was a 38mm caliber weapon,
which matched what they thought was a murder weapon.
When did you sell her the gun?
I don't remember exactly, probably a week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
If you were truly innocent of any of this, why lie about any of it?
Not a problem.
Thank
you.
you.
All right. If I can do anything, let me know.
Cell phone records also reveal another inconsistency in Shannon's statement.
So Shannon said she was at a doctor's appointment for one of her kids, but her cell phone records showed that she was in Durham that morning.
Not only in Durham, but very close to the area where Danita would be found dead.
And And as Jameer's scorned lover, Shannon certainly had motive to commit the crime.
It looks like the motive here was jealous rage.
They had a circumstantial case, but a pretty strong one. They did have probable cause.
On January 9th, Durham police arrest Shannon Crawley for the murder of Danita Smith. The story is front page news, as are the salacious details of her and Jameer's alleged affair.
I just was like, who are you? Like, where did you come from? It took people's breath away.
You got this supposedly upstanding, law-abiding law enforcement officer who's two-timing. Now, it doesn't get more scandalous than that.
But no sooner is Shannon Crawley arrested than the case takes another, even more shocking turn. News from the coroner's office reveals a curious detail about Danita Smith's fatal gunshot wound.
The placement of the gunshot wound would lead an investigator to believe that this was a person that was very skilled with firearms.
The precision of the shot that killed Danita Smith was so accurate that any average person couldn't pull that off.
As an emergency dispatcher, Shannon never received regular firearms training. But there is one officer closely associated with this case who had.
Jameer is actually a police officer. The pregnancy test kit would give Jameer motivation. The police training would give Jameer the ability, so that would put him in the lead as far as the suspect.
The mystery only deepens when Shannon Crawley is released on bond and heads straight to the police station to volunteer another statement.
She just wanted to set the record straight and tell her story. Shannon Crawley argued that Jameer was the one doing the stalking.
According to Shannon, after she got pregnant and had the abortion, she tried to put an end to her and Jameer's affair, but Jameer wouldn't stand for it.
He would continuously call me on my cell phone at work. It would interrupt the radio. He would come in communications and stand in the hallway and stare at me.
Afraid for her safety, that's when Shannon obtained a firearm from a coworker.
I decided then that it may be a good idea to have something to protect myself because he always has his gun with him. And there wouldn't be anything I could do if he tried to hurt me or my children.
But Shannon explains to detectives that no sooner had she acquired the gun than she began to fear one of her children might get a hold of it.
She went to Four Seasons Mall in Greensboro and threw the gun away.
But Shannon tells police on the morning of January 4th, she came to regret that decision.
Miss Crowley stated that on the day of the murder, Mr. Stroud kidnapped her at gunpoint and forced her to drive to Durham.
And he said, I'll make it real simple. Either your children die or you die for your children. And he knew at that point it wasn't a question. I told him, okay, that was fine. I called into work. I told him that my son had a doctor's appointment and that I would be late.
Shannon says she drove Jameer to the Campus Crossing apartment complex.
Give me your keys. Give me your keys. Give me your keys. Turn the car off. Give me your keys. Give me your cell phone.
For what? What you need my phone for?
When they arrived, Jameer took her keys and cell phone and exited the vehicle. Moments later,
I heard a gunshot.
Jameer then came running back to the vehicle.
Open the door.
He gets back into the vehicle. He actually climbs across the driver's seat and has to use the steering wheel to climb in the back seat.
That's why the gunshot residue was in her vehicle after this murder.
What did you do?
Brandishing his gun, Jameer forced Shannon to drive. But before they made it out of the parking lot, they were stopped by the maintenance man.
What's going on? You hear any gunshots?
And asked me if I was all right. I said, shook my head no. He said, did you hear a gunshot? I said, yes.
Shannon claimed that she was trying to signal the maintenance man somehow that someone else was in the vehicle.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
But Shannon says the man never saw Jameer. After the man drove off, Jameer ordered Shannon to take him back to Greensboro. On the way, Shannon asked Jameer if she could call her children.
Mommy's on the way home, okay?
So that's the reason her phone records show she was in Durham.
It's a jaw-dropping story. But detectives want to know why Shannon waited until now to tell them the truth.
She explained that the reason why she didn't initially accuse Jameer of having killed Danita was that she was afraid for the safety of her kid.
I wasn't going to take a chance of him doing anything to them. He knows where I live. He knows where my family lives.
The investigator asked her, why aren't you afraid now? And she said that the police would be able to protect me.
Investigators decide it's time to have another conversation with Jameer Stroud. They bring him in for questioning.
So, Jameer, is there anything you want to tell us this time around?
Jameer denies everything
I told you guys everything that I know.
and insists the only thing he's guilty of is having an affair with a psychopath.
I did everything I possibly could to get rid of this girl.
He didn't deny that they had a sexual relationship, but claimed he was innocent.
Did you kill Danita?
I did not kill Danita. I love Danita.
What Jameer doesn't know is that an unexpected call from a hospital bed will cast even more doubt over his story. Five-year-old graduate student Danita Smith went to her grave believing she was about to marry the perfect man. But the investigation into her murder has revealed that her fiancé, Officer Jameer Stroud, was cheating on Danita with a police dispatcher named Shannon Crawley. Now, 4 months after being charged with Danita's murder, Shannon has informed police that Jameer is the one who really pulled the trigger.
She came to the police with the story that Jameer had actually forced her to drive him to Durham, and that he was the one who went and shot Danita.
Although Jameer denies these allegations, those familiar with the case aren't convinced he's telling the truth.
You can't rule out that Mr. Stroud could possibly set up the crime scene and frame Miss Crowley.
But without an eyewitness to corroborate Shannon's story, prosecutors have no choice but to press forward with the case against her. As for Shannon, she claims that since she's been out on bail, Jameer has continued to torment her. In fact, Shannon is so frightened of Jameer, she petitions the court to let her move to Charlotte to live with her parents while she awaits trial. The court approves Shannon's request. But on June 20th, 2008, officers get a call from a hospital bed in Charlotte. It's Shannon, claiming that she's been violently attacked.
Shannon had made allegations that Jameer had come to her home in Charlotte and abducted her and raped her.
If Shannon's allegations are true, then it stands to reason that Jameer was the real stalker, not her. And it was he, not Shannon, who killed Danita.
If he was somebody who would rape, he was somebody who could kill.
Investigators pay Shannon a visit in the hospital. They ask her if nurses can administer a rape kit to determine the severity of her attack. Shannon agrees. The results are shocking.
A rape kit was performed on her to see if there's any DNA or any proof to a rape, and the test kit came back negative.
Not sure what was playing in her mind. I have no idea why Shannon would say that Jameer raped her. Maybe to put blame on Jameer for the murder of Danita.
I never believed the rape allegations. This is somebody that she had a very long relationship with, who's had a consensual sexual relationship many, many times. So for that to switch to a non-consensual relationship, it's hard for me to believe.
With Shannon's allegations of rape proving untrue, prosecutors are confident to move forward with her murder trial. On February 8th, 2010, the state of North Carolina versus Shannon Crawley begins. In their opening statements, prosecutors depict Shannon as a jealous, vindictive mistress who would stop at nothing, including murder, in order to be with Jameer.
The prosecutor wanted to paint a picture of Shannon Crawley as a scorned lover who was bent on being with Jameer.
Prosecutors claim that obsession reached a boiling point at a church service on Christmas Eve, where much to Shannon's chagrin, Jameer arrived with Danita on his arm and an engagement ring on her finger.
She saw those two enter the church together as a couple, which essentially was pushing her out of the picture. And so that's really when things got cooking in her mind.
It could have been a breaking point. She might have been thinking, that's, really bold, that he would bring this other woman in here and just walk right in front of me.
Prosecutors argue that in order to eliminate the competition, Shannon concocted an elaborate scheme. On the morning of January 4th, Shannon contacted her supervisor to ask for the morning off.
I'll see you in a little bit.
And made the hour-long drive to Durham. Arriving at Danita's apartment just before 8 a.m., Shannon waited, a loaded gun in her hand.
She obviously watched Miss Smith for a while to develop her routine because she knew exactly what time to be on the second floor landing.
one gunshot. Danita falls down the stairs.
After laying out their theory of how the crime unfolded, the state introduces the evidence they've collected against Shannon.
She had the gunshot residue on her and her vehicle. She had purchased a .38 from a coworker. She was seen leaving the scene of the crime.
Prosecutors also assert that in order to deflect investigators' suspicions, Shannon concocted the story of Jameer as a cold-blooded killer, stalker, and rapist. To support that claim, they call an unlikely witness to the stand, Jameer Stroud.
Jameer admitted that, yes, he cheated on Danita Smith. Jameer was sorry that he did that. He really loved and wanted to marry Danita Smith.
The truth he was telling was very ugly.
Prosecutors asked Jameer point blank, did he have anything to do with the murder of Danita? His answer is an unequivocal no.
His cell phone record showed him in Greensboro when this crime was supposed to have happened. He would have had to driven back and forth at like 120 miles an hour.
Jameer's testimony is compelling, but the defense counters by calling their own star witness, Shannon Crawley. On the stand, Shannon sticks to her original story, that Jameer kidnapped her at gunpoint and forced her to participate in Danita's murder.
Shannon looked very calm and collected. She didn't cry, she didn't ramble. She spoke very clearly and very directly.
Shannon didn't seem thrown off by any questions. She seemed like she was confident in her account of what had happened.
That's when prosecutors introduce a surprise piece of evidence. One so shocking the jury would have to hear it to believe it.
You need to tell the truth. I ain't going to jail. And I'm supposed to decide and do?
Nine days into the murder trial of Shannon Crawley, and the case has boiled down to two competing versions of events. Shannon's versus that of her ex-lover and the victim's fiancé, Jameer Stroud. A convincing turn on the witness stand by Shannon seems to have shifted momentum in favor of the defense. But when it's their turn to cross-examine, prosecutors introduce a shocking piece of evidence.
It was basically phone conversation between Shannon and Jameer, trying to get Jameer to confess that he had indeed had shot Danita.
You need to tell the truth. I ain't going to jail. And I'm supposed to decide and do?
It was strange that the prosecution was the one who introduced tapes where allegedly someone other than the defendant is confessing to the crime.
But prosecutors ask the jury to take a closer listen.
You gonna kill me too?
The guy on the other end of this supposed phone conversation had this high-pitched voice that was like Michael Jackson. And the red flag goes up because, wait a minute, I heard Jameer testify in court, and he didn't sound like the guy on those tapes.
No one would believe this tape. You know, this doesn't sound like Jameer Stroud. We heard him on the stand.
Prosecutors argue the tapes are further evidence that Shannon Crawley murdered Danita Smith, and then tried to frame Jameer for the crime.
It was hard for me to imagine the jury not convicting her after hearing those tapes.
Between the physical evidence and the doctored audio tapes, it doesn't take long for the jury to make up their minds. On February 22, 2010, they find Shannon Crawley guilty of first-degree murder. The judge sentences Shannon to life in prison.
Justice was served. In the eyes of the law, somebody was convicted.
She'll spend the rest of her natural life in prison, and that's exactly where she should be.
As Shannon is carted off to prison, the calm, collected demeanor she displayed on the witness stand evaporates.
When the law enforcement officers led her out of the courtroom, it was almost like she had seen a ghost.
For someone to kill someone is insane. It's not a reasonable and rational response to anything, even if it's infidelity in the relationship.
But while Shannon is ultimately held responsible for Danita's murder, the judge has harsh words for her fiancé.
The judge told Jameer that he created the perfect scenario for this tragedy to occur.
Jameer Jackson Stroud created the perfect storm for this to happen. Granted, Jameer didn't pull the trigger, but certainly his actions of dating both women, created this. It shows you the danger of this kind of philandering and cheating.